What's up, mi gente? Your boy is back after his birthday party, after getting sick, after a long week of work. Um, so yeah, as you can tell, didn't make the video on the call ups or anything like that. Like I said, your boy was out sick, but I'm finally gonna do what we learned, and man, there's a lot to unpack from one national team, and sadly, it's not the one that I expected. So the gap between elite teams is real for either side. At least with Mexico, um, they were competitive and they were, showing nice moments, highlights. But for Portugal, they got outplayed. And I mean, I know it's a draw. I'm glad that we went el 2-2 contra ellos. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I feel like that just shows our level, our real reality, true, and we can't deny it. That's how it's been for a while. And if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it as, hey, you know what? Cool. Now, USA, boy, man, we got trashed badly. And one thing I've noticed after McKennie got the yellow card, the dynamic shifted because if it's not Pulisic stepping up, it's McKennie usually who's stepping up, and we've seen it lately. But that yellow card, it changed the dynamic because he knows his role. He knows that he did something wrong, and that's what I don't say it's what caused it, but it did kind of change what was going on. And also another thing is that Pochettino, he didn't play with a 5 in the back. He played with a 4 in the back. And the thing is, one key factor from what I heard is that Pochettino, he has the right and left back being attacking help. And that leaves us vulnerable and the center back. And Temrim, he's not getting any younger. And that's what, and Belgium exposed that side of us. They exposed that part. And I wish this was competitive for US, but as a host nation, for one of the host nations, and for one of my countries that I'm representing, it looks bad, man. It looks that we're not ready. And another thing that I didn't know Pochettino was doing, because like I said, your boy was out and sick, trying to recover. He was testing things out, brother. This is the last friendly. I'm pretty sure it's another one, but this is like the friendly you have, before like the World Cup, and you get one more. But this shows that you should know what you're getting. You should know what you're doing, but you're not doing it. And instead, you want to test things out, brother. We do not have time for that. And the crazy thing is that I've been saying this a lot. Pochettino siempre se va a ir contra su propia palabra. Basically, he goes against his own words. And I forgot which press conference was it that he says that we don't have a top 100 player, something like that. But yet this man goes in to the media saying, "Come and support us. We can make a semifinal run, etc., etc. We got the players necessary." It didn't look like that in the field to me. It did not at all, brother. And the crazy thing is that I still find it ironic that Pochettino still, wants to bring that type of how can I say this? Energy. Like the Argentinian soccer energy to the States. My brother, that is impossible to do here. But getting off topic. So, CONCACAF level and World Cup knockout level, that depends. Really, man, that depends how it goes for either team. But for Mexico, it goes, we can go 2-2. But how long can we keep that advantage, or how long can we have them in? Another thing I learned from Mexico, Piojo Alvarado. So he apparently he's locked up Deku, and I forgot who else. And the thing is, I think Piojo works more as a defender because I think he knows he knows what to do in that kind of situation. Granted, a lot of people don't like his how he plays. When he's an attacking forward or winger. But if we can manage to to lock up some top 100 players in his pocket, then we might see Piojo a little bit more. And he had an impressive window, and that's very interesting to see considering how much Piojo was getting ragged on. So another USMNT take is that for me is that the US, conceding 5 goals is bad, bro. You conceded 7 goals in total, and this is not a good look, especially going into the World Cup. And I don't know, this just looks bad. And the second game, Pochettino decided to put Christian Pulisic as a false 9. Brother, why you called up the strikers for then? And I'm pretty sure Balogun is going to be the same one. Most likely, my guy Pepe is going to get left out. But I find it weird that Pochettino, the tactics he used on these 2 windows just to test things out, which are games you shouldn't test out anything, especially with the excuse he came out after this. You should know you should not be testing anything out. You should know this is my 11, my starter 11. I'm going with this. Not with I'm going to test some things out. But you do not have time, and we've seen it. And once again, it looks like the identity crisis is being a part of USMNT still, because constant lineup changes and more tactical experiments where he shouldn't have done any experiments this close. But at the end of the day, he's the one who's getting paid $6 million by the federation, not me. All right, Mexico looked better against Belgium than Portugal. Still consistent performance to performance. Both in both lessons for them, both teams were still figuring out their best 11 and system. I agree. Which for me, I feel that what's his name? I already forgot. Brian Gutierrez and Fidalgo. That's a good duo. And I was very surprised. And hey, I gotta admit where I'm wrong. I never wanted Fidalgo to be in the national team. But he impressed me. He won me over in the national team with his performance with Gutierrez. They're a good duo for the midfield. And another thing, Julian Quiñones. I feel he's the winger. He was creating chances. And yes, he plays in the Saudi League. But at the end of the day, we've seen that Quiñones has created chances. He gave one for Ormiga, but sadly Ormiga couldn't put it in. And, but honestly, this is good for me at least. That I see as a good thing, seeing that we have a better midfield. We definitely don't need Charlie. He better stop calling that dude out. I don't know why he keeps being there. But Quiñones, Fidalgo, and Gutierrez, and even Obed Vargas too. Those guys are gonna lead an example. And another thing is, this may ruffle some feathers, but I think the national team was better with Lira as well than with Edson. Then again, I don't know. But I always stated that whenever Edson goes down or he's injured, Lira always steps up. And I'm glad that he does that. Glad he managed to, to notice that, this is my time to shine. And especially this close to the World Cup. And like I said, this is mostly for the U.S. Can build chemistry months before a World Cup. You need it now. So that's mostly for USA, man. And stop experimenting things, bro. You should know that. The finishing issue. This was for both national teams. You know, U.S. men's. I don't recall if they had chances. They had some chances, but they couldn't put it in, or more like they were getting dominated by the other side, and they didn't make any chances at all. They didn't create anything. Like the only two against Belgium, and like I want to say the first 20-25 minutes against Portugal. That's it. And I feel, and the thing is, Pochettino, he has strikers to use, but it's just baffled to me that he didn't use them the second game, and the first one, that was rough, because he called in Pepe, and then I'm not sure how good Balogun did. I think he did decent. I think he gave an assist. I'm pretty sure. I gotta look back, bro. But thing is, this is worrisome because it's telling us that Pochettino still doesn't know who his 9 is. Everybody thinks it's Balogun. I think it's Balogun. As much as I may not agree with it, it has to be Balogun. But he keeps testing things out. And for Mexico, they have moments against Portugal, but lacked accuracy. And hey, and Raul didn't have a good game in either window. That's okay. He's still getting over that head injury, man. And he's getting a little bit on the older side. So obviously his time is coming up. And another thing for US, if we can't score goals when we have chances, it's gonna be hard to compete and win games. We have to force other teams to feel some pressure, force them to respect us. If we score, we force other teams to have a change. We have a change, we force a change a little. If not, to have a change, later on in the game. But being relaxed and composed, they're gonna come at us like it's not a big threat. That's what I'm trying to get at. And sadly, that's when they score. If we don't score first, we're doomed. Because basically, that's when they don't respect us. When we don't score first. That's when they don't respect us, and that's gonna cost us. And we've seen it now, right? And this is still a big issue. And with USA, not so much for Mexico. The mentality. This has been an issue with Greg since when Greg first took over. This not have been a recent issue. When Belgium went down early, we had the upper hand. We got a little bit too confident, way too cocky. Then Belgium scored 5 straight. And Portugal, they stayed calm and control the games. In the US, we didn't. Our mentality, I'm not sure what happened that day. Christian Pulisic had off games. Granted, he's not having a good season with AC Milan. And I know he didn't have a good season with Chelsea. He managed to have a good performance in the Nations League. I think that's different. Because I think Christian is still having a lingering injury, but I'm not 100% how true that is. But it showed that Christian wasn't fully there, and it surprised me more that he was a false 9. And I don't know, man. I feel like the mentality is still a problem with that national team. Now, Mexico, their mentality, they showed up to fight. We're both national teams, especially Belgium, and we know Portugal did dominate them. They still managed to keep it 0. 0-0. Elite teams stay calm, stay composed, and kill games. For the US and for Mexico, we're gonna make it a struggle for them. It's not just talent; it's also the mentality and composure. Because we've seen it with Mexico, their mentality and composure, and we've seen it with the US, and it's still a problem to this day. And we're thinking that Pochettino was gonna fix that problem when he took over, but it looks like it's still there. And remember the whole fiasco before the Gold Cup. Some players had that mentality. This is gonna be a big problem going into the World Cup. Because if this was a problem in Copa America, shout out, and you're hosting a World Cup, there's something you gotta get a little bit more stricter with these guys. I know he's already strict with them, but it's just not showing the effects, man. All right, so these games, it's a panic. It's panic, man. It is panic because we're too close to the World Cup. You have Pochettino still experimenting things. Even though he hasn't put out his best 11 yet, we don't know what his best 11 looked. I thought we were going to look at it during this window, but no, he's still, I don't know, he's still trying to test things out. We're getting closer and closer to that time, and honestly, this is worrisome. Now for Mexico, it's better to be happy with the results. I know some Mexico fans aren't happy with these results. I'm okay with it because I thought we were the ones getting battered, but it was the other national team, USA, who got battered. And if I'm seeing this, I want to take it as us overhyping Mexico. I think we should see it as us seeing it. So we did decent. We did decent against an elite teams. Now we need to transfer that and make it from decent to world class or elite. To go toe to toe like we did, but to finish our chances when we have them. And final message. USA and Mexico. Both things that we learned. It's clear that one team is ready to host. And it's clear that another one still trying to test things out. And those kind of testing things out, mistakes like that, will cost you. Chances matter. The mentality separates you. The gap isn't impossible, but it's real. It's very real, mi gente. It's very real. Now, for me, I think for national teams, Mexico and USA, I want to say I'm happy with Mexico's results. USA, like I said, not too much. But let me know what you guys think. You think it went well for them? You think it went decent? Should USA worry? Should Pochettino get it out the bag? And tell me what switches will you make for USA or for Mexico, even for that matter, if you want to do that one as well. So, nos vemos, mi gente.